got hit by a humongous semi truck. So of course, it's all over the internet, all over the internet. It's amazing how word spread like wildfires, and the internet spreads even faster than that. And somewhere down the line, it got to a forum of uh, of people who skateboard or the news or whatever. And some people don't even know this family. I'm sitting there with the mother. I'm 1 feet, directly 1 feet from her. We're this close to each other. Eric was there. He stepped out. I'm just taking it all in, doing direct grief clinical counseling. And she shares with me how people talked about how it was her son's fault. These people haven't even read the article or the police report, have no idea, no direct knowledge of what happened. Apparently, the driver on Golf to Bay and Old Coachman Road ran the red light. A 35-year-old driver ran the red light and hit the kid so hard that it dented a semi truck's bumper. Um, and that's she's like, that's why I'm off of it. I mean, this the compounding of one's anger, the compounding of one's suffering because of the digital world. And if someone ever thoughtful enough spend a little bit, just a little bit time, not too much time, reflecting on the digital world and how mean people, how ignorant people actually really are on there, insensitive to the suffering of all families involved in tragedy and violence, you know. So it calls for, if we don't say something about it, if we don't engage, it continues. And they're cowards. They're, to me, they're one of the worst cowards I've ever seen in my entire life, because they're hiding behind a fake name, a fake
The majority of the internet is. So also
fake, yeah.
it's all bull crap. It's just nothing that people should indulge in. But 97% of the entire world is so fixated on a like, on a thumbs up, on advertising themselves, their pictures, social media. I was just telling her about this the other day. Social media is nothing more than just a way for people to. It's a great marketing platform if you're going to be involved in marketing. It's only good because so many people are on it. But unfortunately, every person's out there to market themselves when they have nothing to sell, except for a picture of them that they Photoshop or they're doing this, and they make their life seem like it's really, really great. But ultimately, their life is shitty.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just be straight up. And they paint this picture that they have the best life so they can get the most likes, and their serotonin is directly a result of a thumbs up, a picture of a thumbs up and a number next to it, 4, 5, 500, 1,000, etc., and so on. It's nightmarish. I can't stand the internet.
You have to know how to approach it skillfully.
I don't engage in it because I see nothing but a bunch of people. Like, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily like to use the word coward per se. I try not to use those types of do sometimes, but it's people that deliberately have no moral compass and literally try to get a rise out of other people. It happens all the time. Everybody does that. Not everybody, but there's millions of people that do that. And half that stuff is just a robot.
Yeah.
It's not even a real person. It's just a way for, seriously, it literally is. There's so many different bots out there now that just will say things. It's just an algorithm, and it just will do whatever, say whatever. That's why Elon Musk didn't want to buy Twitter. He's like, most of it's bots now. Now I know that. I had to spend however many billions of dollars on this thing. And it's worth half that, if that. But if people are so consumed and pre-consumed with the idea of what these other individuals are saying, be it good or bad, it's nightmarish. I don't know. It's really nightmarish. It truly is. Social media is an awful thing. It does have a certain purpose to a certain extent if it has the right backing to it, but most of it doesn't. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, I think it's all just a bunch of crap. Nobody reads anymore. YouTube is good to an extent now. That's fallen off. What's the other one?
Snapchat.
Not that one. The 1 minute videos. TikTok.
Mm.
That has a certain appeal for a certain purpose, but why is it that the American TikTok has so many people that are eating Tide Pods and doing this crazy stuff or beating themselves up versus other people like the Chinese TikTok is Chinese, right?
Yeah.
It's a Chinese company. The Chinese TikTok is for education. The American TikTok is for self.
Loathing.
Yeah. So, and again, there is a way that it can be utilized for a positive purpose, but unfortunately, hundreds of millions of people just in this country alone don't use it for that reason. And it's sad.
Let's get this started, huh? Ooh. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. We pay homage, respect to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened Gautama Buddha. I forgot my bell. Oh, it's supposed to make it all holy in the holy moment. So, good morning to everyone on the east side of the world and on the west side of the world and all of the worlds and Mars, Pluto, planets, and Saturn. Good morning to all the aliens that's watching also. First and foremost, let me start with apologizing to any witnesses that was on TikTok last night who watched me got really, really real with my local students. In the middle of the TikTok, I used strong language. I am quite mindful when I'm using strong language. I've been using strong language for the past 6 months straight, actually. And I love every single one of my students. But I have declared war with your mind. And that's what the world gets to see is the Dharma warrior Buddhist monk draws his very sharp sword and he battles with his student's mind. Not the student, their mind. When we saw the one Tyree Nichols got beaten by 5 black police officers, that is because had nothing to do that they're black, had nothing to do if they were white, had nothing to do if they were black, white, Asian, Puerto Rican, Chinese. It had everything to do with the proliferation of hatred in their mind. What we Buddhist monks saw was their mind winning the battle as they beat their own brother to death. And again, at war with the mind, not at them, not who they are, their mind. It was something that the Buddha focused on clearly, the mind. Notice Buddha statue over there is the head. The emphasis of the head, why it's all glorified and pretty and very Buddha-like nature, one of its kind. Again, focusing on the scientific study of the mind. As a clinical Buddhist monk, I have to be very skillful at meeting the young students where they're at. Funny, because in college, Professor Andrew, who specializes in adolescent psychology, after receiving her PhD, walks into a room full of kids. She's in the clinical field of kids, and she tells me all of these things, but you can tell she's reliving her experience in dealing with kids, their mind, their how they know that she has a lot of power as the teacher, how they misbehave when she's not around, how they pay attention close to her, how they're watching everything. And you could tell that she was very passionate in working with adolescent. And the word adolescent means anyone under 25. And the rest of you are under 25. I am now the next and new Professor Andrew. And she kept it very real. She kept it very, just like me. I think I got it from them. I got it from them and I get it from my dad. How real I am to the world, to all of you. The rawness, right? The unprecedented. Like you never see a monk use that type of language. Just because they're all serene, and so perhaps they're more spiritually advanced than I am. Perhaps instead of me running into a tree and sit there and try to be like them, I decided to leave my own tree and walk out into the world and deal with the minds of the world just because I'm equipped to do so, and it is part of the bodhisattva's heart. So if you were to slice my heart in half of it is Theravada, and the other half is perhaps Mahayana. As we close day by day to the trip to Vietnam, I wanted to give more credit to the Mahayana world from my first teacher, Venerable Tong, who took me in just like how I took all of you in. As a very lost young man, I was. He never stopped teaching. He never he tried to arrest my mind. He tried to detain my mind with his words and his own Dharma sword as much as he could. And I also struggled, tried to inhale all of the Dharma words that was expounded out of his mouth. And by and through the little recorder, remember before GoPros came along, the little recorders? Yeah. And I realized how sincere and warm and deep and profound these philosophies were. It's like you all going through your phone and you look at those philosophy quotes and you're like, oh wow, that's really profound. And then you screenshot it and you save it. Well, in my day and age, it was them telling us to quote, and we're like, huh? It sounds really good, but I have nothing to write it down. So if you were fortunate enough and you have something to record, you record the darn teacher saying it in the moment. So your battery runs out, you change the battery quickly, and you keep on recording the guy. And I did. Thank God I did. Because the whole world will see that if I could find it. It's in another hard drive somewhere. But he never gave up on me, and that's why I'm here today. I was a very suicidal young man, lost. I mean, just could not believe how lost I actually was. Just lost. But the one thing I did right was to submit to the Triple Gem. I knew that the temple is a safe place, was a place of peace, serenity, warm, non-judgmental. So I submitted to it. After my breakup with Christina, my dad said, go to Vietnam, you're lost. And I was very much lost. I was lost with amongst other students who were even more lost. So I sat there and watched other students listen to Venerable Tong. And I mean, I saw this guy's eyes just all over the place. And I was just like, oh, oh, oof, get it together. So I think that was the cultivation of my heart to be Mahayanan. Truth be told, there are times I get a little too attached. Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi, who has translated 50,000 pages of the teachings of the Buddha, one of his books is right over there. Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi was taken in, and I think he was ordained initially, maybe, forgot the story. He was trained by a Mahayanan monk and then subsequently transitioned over to Theravada. One of the things that is right about Mahayana is to have this really big open arms of come in. Come as you are, and we will meet you where you are. Literally, they will open their arms up and they will just hug you very long. They will hug you very long. And no matter how lost you are, they're very skilled at trying to show you the roadmap to the path to liberation. Um, and they deserve more credit. And I just wanted to give them more credit. There are two sides of every school. There's so many different angles of many schools, and I wanted to bring to attention, and that's why I do what I do. Because Theravada monks typically just say, "Come, are you ready to learn? Yes, no, no. Oh, well, we may not be the one for you. Keep going." It might be blunt. It might be like it's very clinical, and it is very straightforward. Um, It's no wonder why when you profile some of the fully enlightened arahants who have previously died, like like I said, they just if you were dumb, they wouldn't take you. And I'm not, and I'm like, oh, what? It's not what's in the textbook. It's not what the textbook said. So it's very real, and but that's something that's right about me, right? Hopefully, some things right about me is that why I pay so close attention to all of you is because the attention that I got when I was in the Mahayanan world and how I was all over the every qualities that you all exhibit, I exhibited. But somewhere down the line, somebody saw something in me that I could in fact change and become better and to affect the world. You all get to see it once I dig it deep enough through my external hard drive. You guys will see just how lost I was and all over the place. Just the rawness of this one human. Um, and how welcome I felt at the monastery. Actually, just like lie down and just rest. I can remember the literally the neural inflammation of the mind is on fire. Remember the fire that we took a couple days ago?
Yeah.
How I gravitated towards the fire, and if you and as you were practicing photography, I looked at that fire with sheer determination and reflection of that fire that was burning in my head at the monastery. I mean, there I am. Everyone thought I was this cute little kid that just came in, and they're like, "Oh my God, look, young kid who's a tourist from America. Why is he not out partying? Why is he here at this monastery on top of this mountain?" What they didn't know is that I was just in flames, burning, burning slowly, blue flames of greed, of anger, fueled by ignorance. And I was somewhere down the line, there was a grain of effort in me to just give it all up. And I was in the process of giving it up, renouncing, surrendering and submitting to the triple gem. The importance of renunciation. That word now lies a special place in my heart of giving it up. Just when you think you know it all, give it up. Just when you think you know it all, little bit of knowledge that you think you have, give give it up. The the little bit amount of money that I had in my pocket while I was participating in a DUI class. And yesterday, everybody thought I had a DUI. No, I did not get a DUI. I was working as an interpreter for a DUI case in Sarasota. We were broke off to lunch, and I can see these books again so I can demonstrate it to the people online. And maybe that one too. Maybe that one too.
I had to look the spot I was at.
Oh, okay. So we were able to go to lunch and off we ate. I've never ate so fast in my life. And then we had literally like 15 more minutes. We went, I came across this bookstore. I took a picture of it. What's the name of the bookstore? I took it on one of those. Maybe this one. And lo and behold, I go in there. I'm like, "Hi, do you?" I don't have it on this phone. you have any Buddhist books, philosophy and stuff like that? She says, yeah, sure, over here. I go over there. I'm thinking each one of these books is $5 because it's so thin and it's so old and thin. $5. Sure, I'll buy like 15 of them until I open up the front cover of each page. You know, typically where they write the price. If you are fortunate enough to go into old bookstores, $25 and $25 for this one. I died in the moment. $20 for this one. This one, if you ever see, this one includes mythic history divisional issues, Mahayana Theravada, rituals and festivals, meditational endeavors, sacred biology, regulation and reform, interaction and syncretism. I don't even know what that means. Syncretism, Sangha and society, women in the Sangha. Right here. Then in my head, I'm like, is that worth $20? It sure damn does. If this was $80, I would still buy it. I would have taken off my shoes. I would have been like, I give my shoes for this book. Because this is where liberation lies right here. When the world is burning, when crap hits the fan in the world, this right here, it's like Harry Potter. This right here is M. Night Shyamalan. What's his name?
That's pretty close.
That's pretty close, right? It is like, it's not fiction, it's nonfiction, but it's like, please take me onto the journey. You know, when everything is burning in one's life and the whole world falls apart and you're falling apart, and if you just submit to the richness of the history of the Buddha, the life of the Buddha, and you just fantasize when he's still here, if he's still here, when he was here, and you realize what a warrior he was, and the trials and the suffering he went through, and you compare that suffering to your suffering, you realize this ain't nothing, you know. So Buddhist monastic way. So anyone who thinks that how we should behave, how we conduct ourselves, and as I go throughout the week with all of you, you all get to learn the monastic rules, right? What I'm allowed to do, what I'm not allowed to do in certain times of the day, how I can be near a woman or not near a woman, and when is it appropriate. And this is nothing, by the way. This is one of the baskets in the Tripitaka. It's the Vinaya. Okay. The Vinaya is like that thick with thousands of amendments. Thousands. Okay. Then this got to be from disciples of a Jancha, disciples of a fully enlightened being. And some of these disciples are actively living arahants right now in modern day. I don't know what that is. He bought a book, he didn't know what it is. Each book follow high level consistency in content and approach. Each book is oriented towards, it just looks good. I went words from his eminence. It just looks good, so he bought it. There's illustrations on here. There are quotes on here. Yeah, I know what I'm buying. Trust me. I didn't just like, oh, look, great. It says Buddhism. Let's spend $20 on it. So there are excerpts from poems and citations, and see right down here, citations. See, but I'm trained really fast to see stuff like this, to see gold and diamond in a book. So I look, you know, I have 10 minutes, right, before I have to go back to the DUI thing, right? So I'm like, I literally see, like, I take keywords, take like 5 words in like 5 pages in different parts of the book, and I'm like, yeah, it's worth it. This one, oh, $10. That's why I bought it. This one's really profound, right? Questions from the city, answers from the forest. Let that sit for a second. Let that sit for a second. Questions from the city. Why is she cheating on me? Why do people die? Why do bad things happen to good people? Answers from the forest. From the guys that spend a lot of time underneath the tree obtaining wisdom. and the essence of the Tipitaka, which is roadmap onto the 84,000 teachings of the Buddha. And okay, well, you get my point. What does this mean? This means that I don't know Jack. I may know Tom, but I don't know Jack. And it's a reminder that I don't know Jack. It's a reminder that I don't know Jack. I know Tom Finley, but I don't know Jack. Okay? So just when do I think I know it all? I don't. And many times, for many of you who are within my presence, direct counseling, I tell you all, right? When you speak, I'm the student. Simply put. And that's how I continue to learn and remind myself. Now, why did I buy the Buddhist monastic life book? I mean, do I not know 227 rules? Or I don't. I do. Who enforces the 227 rules? No one.
Yourself.
That's right. Yourself. If I go have sex right now with a stripper, anyone's going to know? Of course not. I put a hat on, I put sunglasses on, I walk into wherever. Who's going to know?
You.
Well, and I have to live with that. And I have to live with that memory. Then the workings of karma comes right behind me, lurking in the shadows. The importance, people, food, dress, money, chastity, solitude, and discipleship, all included in this book from Cambridge. When people don't know how to act, gambling, guns, girls, money. Some people are very afraid of themselves. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm doing it. Submit to the triple gem. We teach you how to live. So you're not afraid of yourself anymore. Why would you be afraid of yourself? Do you trust you? Answer me. Do you trust you? Do you? Do you trust your gut feeling? Huh? That sounded like a confusion.
No, yeah, gut feeling because I didn't, and it caught up with me. Just that time I had.
You trust you?
Yes.
You trust you?
Absolutely.
But we don't. I'm looking at the tree. But we don't. I'm having a conversation with the tree. But we don't. And the many times that you don't trust yourself is more than actually what you think. You have overestimated. We trust other people. How do we know this? Because you ask for other people's opinion. Hey, what do you think about? And then we vent to them and we tell them about what happened, right?
Eventually you don't.
Right. But just notice that, right? Just notice the rest of the world, right? Hey, Karen, let me tell you about what happened about my day. And then we seek for advice and then we listen to their advice. And it's like,
The wrong advice.
Rebecca, do you not trust yourself? Rebecca, have you had a conversation with yourself before you talk to Karen? And then they, so that's why, yeah. But this keeps a lot of people straight onto the path. And if you want to stay straight on the path, then you behave and walk as if you are one of us, ordained monks, bhikkhus. It keeps you straight, and people will look up to you and respect you because you have carried yourself a man of principle, a principled life, like the late Justice Ruth Ginsburg, a principled life, they wrote on her Life magazine. So, but anyways, where was I at? Submitting to the triple gem just when you think you know it all. Yeah. Trust in yourself, and you have to do a lot of homework. Sam here is aspired to be an influencer. You can and you will be. How effective are you would be the question. How effective are you? how humble you are.
That's more important.
Right. Effectiveness versus hollow words and meaningful words. Hollow words and meaningful words. I need that red book behind you real quick. Huh. Okay, go ahead. Ooh, we're the Dhamma Club. Look. I think I bought two of these. I got lucky and walked in and I got the teacher's discount, so they took $2 off.
Sweet.
So I bought two. So, oh, this one has a lot of explanation here. Oh, okay, the whys. Oh, there we go. If you ever wondered all of the useless words being tossed around the internet, useless words tossed around by humans that are just not practicing right speech, and if you ever wanted substance in your life, food for the soul, chicken soup for the soul, right here. Warm, homemade chicken soup for the soul. It's right here. On page 126, the whys.
Could I say something?
Sure.
On 124, something that I read that I wanted to last week, he asked about things that stood out to us. And strangely enough, they're 2 pages off from where I was at just
Mhm.
before. That's the immature and the wise.
Mm.
The immature go after false prestige, presidents of fellow monks, power in the monasteries, and praise from all. Listen, monks and householders, I can do this, I can do that. I am right and you are wrong. Thus their pride and passion increase. Choose the path that leads to nirvana. Avoid the road of profit and pleasure. Remember this always, O disciples of the Buddha, and strive always for wisdom. That's the last 3 verses from the 5, the immature, before it moves to the wise, and it leads into that, which I think is a very powerful and very important thing to always keep in mind. Those 3 lines, more so than anything else that I've read. And there's also, I mean, every word of this book is just pure gold, but that really stood out to me.
Oh, page 124, which paragraph?
73.
Okay, got it. Did you catch that? Did you catch a sentence of that that resonated with your own policy? What was it?
You might read that back because I was listening to you, but I need to process it a little bit more.
So 73.
Mhm.
The immature go after false prestige, precedents of fellow monks, power in the monasteries, and praise from all. Listen, monks and householders, I can do this, I can do that. I am right and you are wrong.
Mm.
Thus their pride and passion increase. Choose the path that leads to nirvana. Avoid the road to profit and pleasure. Remember this always, O disciples of the Buddha, and always strive for wisdom.
What I believe you're asking me is
Did you catch 3 words in there? Actually, the
passing.
3 words in here that has to do with your own policy that you have established for yourself. And what we spoke last dumb.
Passion, I believe is one of them.
I'll remind you. Don't worry.
It's the context of the words, though.
It's all right. See, this is how
I'm trying to.
that's right. But that's the problem, is we're processing in the moment of absorption rather than absorbing. Let it sit for a minute, then process. You're learning the psychology of learning. It's a whole book on it. Learning how to learn. Learning how to learn. Choose the path that leads to nirvana. Avoid the road to profit and pleasure. And even remember the students own so much. And what the wise said 2,600 years ago. What does this mean for you? And these guys, I mean, all of you have exemplified that money isn't real. Road to profit. Profit is the accumulation of gold and treasure, anything that is valuable to accumulate more of. And then subsequently use that for pleasure. New car, new house, new whatever, picket fence, right? Your desire to help people, your desire to liberate and shine light on darkness, being the light into all of you, shining light into darkness in the world. Now, the student tells the teacher what they tell the teacher takes it with a grain of salt and watches the student see if he actually exemplifies what he has said through a very long amount of time to be convinced. The burden's on you, it's not on me. The burden's on you to prove to me that that is your true heart, your true motive for society. True motive. These two are formally in class with me. You both are in informal class with me. You learn informally, not in this setting, but you learn with me as we go. And you notice how I exemplify everything that I have said. The amount of clothes I've given. Not just cheap clothes. They were very expensive clothing. So that you feel good, so that you feel refreshed, so that you have the prerequisites to survive. One must ask, is the teacher greedy? One must ask, does he in fact have unshakable faith and confidence in the teachings? Right? Why would he buy more? Why would he get more of this? How does he practice? As we're out having fun, why does he tell us the rules for monks and we have to be home at a certain time? When he can easily disregard, when he can easily take off this brown robes, when no one knows that he's a monk there. Why does he do that? Right? Therefore, the burden is on you to show to the teacher and demonstrate to me and to the world your true motive of actually wanting to inspire and help people. You're closer to that path because of your own policy and your perception and view of money, the one thing that people cling on to for dear life, of which I retracted one of my pre-saints title because I realized that particular student was so attached to money. And when I asked certain questions, he answered it honestly. But it also broke my heart in pieces.
It's better to be honest and hurt somebody than be inauthentic and mislead others.
Well, I'm trained to see through the student. I mean, I'm asking something that I already know the answer to. I just wanted to see how honest they are to me. Not for profit. Avoid the road to profit and pleasure. And how people are so driven by that's why they're not here. Guess who's not here with us? Hold it, don't say it. Guess who's working on this Saturday?
Sunday.
What is today?
Sunday.
Today's Sunday?
Sunday.
Shit, I'm getting old. Right? Avoid the road to profit. But that doesn't mean like don't work. It just means to find the middle way. It means to be self-sufficient, but never forget the spiritual path. A lot of people are spiritually bankrupt.
Also, to me, is to detach from attachment of any form of profit and pleasure, to enjoy things as they are in the moment, but to not be attached to the idea of I have X amount of dollars in my bank account, or I need to make more, I need to do this, and I need to do that to make sure that I can achieve more. Never have enough. This is probably the deepest thing that I've ever read. And the way that they structure it from 73 onward, the way that it's written starts off with talking about the false prestige, talks about the importance of doing what we do, to exempt ourselves from praises, because that's not why we do what we do. That's not why we practice what we practice. We don't do it to be held on a title for our own self ego. We just do it to do it. And if that result of that is someone holding that person up on, for lack of a better word, a pedestal, that's not at the praise of the, it's just because they are exemplifying a way of life that one should strive to achieve, and it continues on through it. So it starts off with the immature and goes through and explains why we should strive and how we should strive through the wisdom in 3 lines. It's crazy. 3 lines is, you write a whole book on those 3 lines.
Mm.
I feel like I could write a whole research paper
On one line. See how the words are not hollow? There's substance and meaning into one sentence of the teachings of the Buddha.
Man,
And by the way, all the other stuff that you read online, they all came from the Buddha.
I know.
99% came from, and they just move some things around, and you guys are, you know what I mean? But you have to do your homework. Just because you read a bunch of those does not mean that you have now control over a body of knowledge of philosophy.
No.
Even if you had 2 PhDs, you still don't. So you have to do the work. You have to do the work. You have to do the homework. Now, yesterday, Eric, we started out. You never know how the day's gonna be with me,
Yeah.
right? It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have fun, and all of a sudden, let's go meet up with Sam and eat, and then all of a sudden, Sam drops a bombshell at the lunch table, and he's like, look at his face. You notice when Sam sat, I didn't greet Sam with joy or sorrow. It was neutral because I'm waiting for it. See, the wise knows, and I'm waiting for it, and it came out. Did I smile or jump up and down? And no, I didn't. I was waiting for it. I started gathering information. Then I process, and I was like, wait for it, and boom, there it is. And he sat down and he says, you know, one of our friends, mutual friends out there, just got hit by a semi truck and died last night. And at first I'm like, what? Yeah, what? I just want like my grouper tacos coming out. Like what? And then so all these things, and then next thing you know, we're done eating, and now we're on the way to see the mother. I called you twice last night as you were being actively kidnapped by Sam. Actively kidnapped. Should have called the FBI. Made a whole big scene out of that one. That'd be a story to tell right there. Defender called the FBI on Sam, who kidnapped a juvenile in his shady, sketchy van.
Who talks to Chuck?
Who has direct knowledge of a bird named Chuck? A 21? A 21-year-old Korean American invites a 17-year-old into his van. I would never get into a van with a guy who knows a bird named Chuck that I have not run a background check on. I got jokes today. Where am I going with this? So I called you twice last night to see your mental state of mind, because that was heavy to take in. I realized that I made a mistake last night. I'm like, did you realize that you took an untrained kid with you in a very heavy clinical setting? And if this kid is thoughtful enough and intelligent enough, he could absorb all of that just happened today. And so you missed a three-way communication last night, recorded live on TikTok. Wow, me, Dom, and it was deep. It was really deep. It got very real. So I was debriefing with them about what happened and my vision for them. Just because everyone's dealing with their own stuff, and my vision for you all, hopefully awaken you guys after that talk, leads to this. Page 207, verses 287, 207, verse 287. Oh, I'm sorry. 207, page 207. On the far right, the two right there.
287.
Verses 287, page 207. Yeah. Death comes and carries off a man absorbed in his family and possessions as the monsoon flood sweeps away a sleeping village. Isn't that what happened to him? He crossed the street, unbeknownst, a semi-truck just plows right through, killing him. Then this went through my mind. If anyone ever curious, what goes through a mind of a monk after he does some really deep grief counseling with a mother who has lost a child to a tragic, horrific death? Last night I was just like, who was mindful and who was not mindful in this accident? Was it, and she brought to awareness the question of awareness onto the 30th. How do you skate and lose your peripheral and tunnel with headphone on, was Beats on, was AirPods in? What happened? It doesn't matter what happened. We can trace back to mindfulness, but such a broad word in a very uncertain circumstance. What is tunnel vision? You don't even have to have AirPods on to have tunnel vision. You don't need to have Beats on. You can be in La La Land because state of mind is not all there. We hear the stories leading up to his death, how things were not well in the home, inflammation of the mind, and now wandering mindlessly in the streets. The most dangerous parts of Florida leads to this, right below it, verses 288. Neither children nor parents can rescue one whom death has seized. Remember this and follow without delay the path that leads to nirvana. Death seized him. Seized him. Like how Sam seized you last night against your will. Kidnapped. Seized. Cease and desist. Order from a judge. I know. I know. That's why Sundays, they all love it. They're all tuning in on Sundays. They're like, what's happening over there? Why is he pulling all these moves on these kids? These poor kids. Venerable, don't do it. So last night, what the world missed in conversation, as I shared the story with my dad, and my dad's like, oh, okay. And for the record, this is from a philosophical standpoint, and this is not to condescend anybody or anything. This is a religious discussion, a cultural discussion. meant to inspire. So it is not directed towards any families, representatives of the families, the victims, or anyone of that nature. It is not meant to be insensitive. It's not meant for anything but the teachings on merits, the accumulation of merits, living on merits, merits expiring, and what is merits? Definition, scope, nature, and practice of merits. Phước, Đức, PHUC, and DUC. And again, why do Thai people, Sri Lankans, Laos, Vietnamese people, Japanese people, well, Japanese are not poor, but everybody else is poor. It's like, why these poor people take everything that they have and they give, or they go to the monastery and they participate in festivals and they're nice to each other and they're careful at what they do and stuff like that because of the idea of merits. Or what's merits? It is the karmic currency that one accumulates when you dedicate body, speech, and mind for the benefit of others and not to be selfish. When my dad screened this story, he says, sounds like their merits expired. That one sentence I sat 2.5 hours with before you called. That was deep. So selfishly proclaimed, selfishly exposed. The reason why I gave the clothes to you guys is because I want my own darn merits. That is my motive. Because I don't want to die in a certain way. Did you know that I've already taken my funeral pictures? Did you know that? Yeah, 3 years ago. A funeral director says, I've never put anybody in here upright. 3 years ago, when I saw all these monks die, I'm like, well, monks don't die. And I did. When you're friends with that many monks on Facebook, they post all sorts of stuff. All 90% of the country is Buddhist. How many monks do you think die a day? A lot. So, car accidents, a lot. Like they just fly. You just see robes fly in midair to the ground. That's what you see. Literally, there's this one monk. Okay, maybe I should not. But one of them survived, and he became Superman. It's just orange robes. Woo! He became Superman, fell, and then he got up and he ran away. And I was like, wow. He did. Well, actually, somebody thought it was funny to post that because as he flew, his butt cheeks was exposed. I swear it was on the internet. Just because that's a skirt. That's why I wear joggers, so that sometimes my skirt falls off. And if I didn't have joggers, well, guess what? My butt cheeks would show too. So somebody thought it was funny because I mean it's their culture, right? They make fun of things, and so happens to be holy men too. I mean, I don't know what the hell's going on in Thailand. I just don't. How do you hit a monk who's like a traffic cone? He's all in orange. First and foremost, I looked at the whole thing, and he obviously hit his head. He obviously survived it. It was going to be a nice, nasty bruise. He didn't crack his skull, and he ran away. And I was just like, done. I'm done with you guys. Then, of course, then there was another a John, probably a well-respected teacher that died. And I'm like, how did he get hit by a car? Because it didn't look like he hit by a car. It looked like he's sleeping. It's just a lie. But he did. He got hit by a car and died. And so was my uncle, who looked like he just got minor scrapes. And I'm like, well, damn, wow. Oh, look, the head is still intact. So I was worried about the manner of death. And mind you, in my very young suicidal days, I had a gun and I was going to blow my head off. And I'm like, well, you can't do that because then it's a closed casket and it would just suck. So don't do it. I convinced myself. So 3 years ago, I decided during an active teaching on death meditation, I decided to carry my students with me, Zach and Chris, who are best friends of whatever. And we went to this funeral home down south. And I told them who I was, why I'm here. And the funeral director says, all right, I'll make it happen. Then I hopped in and I just like this. Most peaceful scene ever. Creepy. How we die should be a wise fear in all of you. Mr. Tran just recently passed away. It was a very liberating feeling for all of us. Mr. Tran was 90, was a soldier. He was bedbound. I mean, just bedbound. I worked this medical case when he was still walking, didn't talk much. He was bedbound. Eat, poop, sleep, one spot for the past 2 years and a half. And eventually he passed away, and everyone was it was a very liberating feeling because nobody wants to live like that. Now, you see, the manner of death is it's all fun and game till you're paralyzed, but your mind is still there and you know you're there. You know you're there, but you can't move anything. You can't move anything. Involuntary peeing, involuntary pooping, involuntary ingestion, or voluntary ingestion, whatever, to keep your vegetative state going, but your mind is still there. And all of the good things you've done comes back or not. Or all the things that you've taken from people, how you cheated, how you stole, how you lied, how you killed, how you steal, how you had sex without consent, how you used intoxicating substance that led to sex without consent, how you use intoxicating substance that led to cheating, lying, killing, and stealing, will all come back and haunt you while you're paralyzed. You cannot ask for forgiveness. This guy didn't even talk. I don't know if he didn't want to talk or he couldn't even talk, but Dr. Lavore was like, Dr. Stevenson and Dr. Lavore was like, and I'm like, he doesn't talk. And they're like, oh. And I just left it as that. How do you ask for forgiveness? I mean, whatever philosophy he chose, Buddhism, Christianity, never tired of forgiving, never tired of asking for forgiveness. Well, he doesn't talk. He doesn't talk. So just that wise fear of just laying there and you're alone with your mind and you're with your mind and you are you know that you're there. Imagine for 2 or 3 years you're in the prison of your mind, replaying all of the bad things that you've done for people, to people. There's no suffering like it. Then you know that you will take unfavorable rebirth because you can't move. You can't talk. You don't talk. You can't talk. Whatever. The guy didn't talk. He can't. I don't know. I'm not a pathologist. So therefore, how could he now accumulate good merits? You're effed. That's a long F too. That's a 2-year effed. CKED. Drag that ED. Long. Long ED. So as I prepare to speak to Alan Pito after today's session, Alan's asking about how do you survive in the digital world? And how we monks have to skillfully teach and do everything, and the sacrifice of monks. Your sacrifice for humanity, merits you accumulate. How much, how many? Who knows? I don't know how much merits I got. I can't go on my credit score and be like, oh, look how many merits I got. 563. Shit, I need 300 more. I can't. I don't. That's one thing, the mysterious workings of merits is that it's very heavy word, very profound word with, it's just like dukkha and tangha. Dukkha and tangha has like really deep meaning, really deep. So the phước đức, I wish you were Vietnamese to fully understand, grasp the word merit, you know, or like the word money in Vietnam, tiền bạc. Tiền is money, but bạc is silver. But bạc means like shadiness. Bạc means like betrayal. Where there's money, there's betrayal. Tiền bạc. It's like really heavy. You got to catch it. You got to sit on it. Where there's money, there's betrayal, right? So the study of death and the study of how one dies, of course, you're not convinced now because you're not there to see it. Part of this program is you must go out and see death and see the impending death at hospice or now empath health, to watch people die, watch how they die, and then watch after they die at the funeral home what they look like in their coffin. Interview them before they die. The best way to investigate all of this and to make meaning out of the core teachings of the Buddha is to talk to people who is going to die, or like, like 6 months to live, get their story, Mary Ainsworth, whatever, how she lived her life, how many husbands she's got, how many kids she's got, how much she's given to charity, um, any regrets she's got. I mean, do a full interview, then watch at the moment of death. That is, the moment of death says everything, whether it matches up with what she said or not. The way how you live your life determines the way how you die. Typically determines the way how you die. Any attachments will show after they die. The embalming process, no matter how skillful the funeral director pumps formaldehyde in your face, if you look pissed, you had attachment. If the body looks pissed, it had attachment. If it looked peaceful, graceful death, no attachment. When a monk walks into a home, which I did, and I felt no attachment in his room, and that's subject to interpretation. There's a potential chance that he didn't want to just linger around. He finally broken the cord. So therefore, I've already given up everything to be a monk, but yet continue to give. Never tired of giving for merits. And I could have took the whole day to do what we wanted to do, right? But I stopped my whole life to tend to this woman I've never met before in my life. Again, all giving. All giving. There's a lot waiting in store for me. There's a lot waiting in store for you. Well, what's waiting in store for you? Diabetes, high blood pressure, stroke. Stroke that will leave half your face paralyzed. Kidney issues, osteoporosis, testicular cancer.
MS.
Ever thought about penile cancer? That exists. Did you not know that?
My grandfather had prostate cancer. I don't know if that's.
And then for women, it's cervical cancer, breast cancer for both male and female, dementia, Alzheimer's. Okay, then let's talk about the dog in the house that I have. Let's look at the dog. Necessary. I sent it to you guys last night. Oh, shoot. Did you see that dog? Dog's blind. Blind's got a diaper on and has dementia. It's like 15 years old. Okay. So I was at the home and I'm trying to take a selfie video explaining what's behind me. And there's a Buddha statue behind me. And this family of Baptists has a Buddha statue. And I'm like, oh, that made it easier for the counseling session to continue. Then I hear this. And I had no glasses on. So I'm like, someone knocking on the door. And it was the dog running into the wall. What did you say?
I said, oh, that's a wall, buddy.
Oh yeah, he says, well, that's the wall, buddy. Okay, so half of us wanted to laugh, but I was struggling to find my glasses to see what the hell just happened. And the dog goes down the hallway. And when he said that, it registered. And I was just like, are you kidding me? And then she says, he's blind. He's also got a diaper on. And there's a diaper on the dog. And the dog's butt's just crawling away. And I'm trying to get him to come back so I can take. And I'm like, oh my God. And then the teaching on rebirth. And then the teaching on unfavorable rebirth. Then she picks up the dog and we see the dog. And I'm like, And I take the video, and then she puts the dog down, and the dog is struggling, trying to find his way. He's bumping into stuff. I lost. I was like, oh, wow. Oh, ooh, that's deep. Because see, to a monk, he's seen a human in dog form. He's seen a human doing this, like you, like as if any one of you are blind and running into a wall. That's what I saw in this dog in that moment. And I was just trying to absorb everything in and trying to remain calm. But just imagine that you take an unfavorable rebirth as a dog, blind in a diaper. And his poor little nose. I was trying to look for trauma at the nose because if you're pumping into that many, oh, and he was deaf too. Oh, wow. Can you imagine that? A blind, deaf dog that has dementia. We can't remember where he is. So all of the senses have disappeared. When one senses go, you have other ones that, it is enhanced automatically by nature. Then that goes, then other stuff is enhanced by nature. This dog has probably one of the worst karmic sentences I've ever seen in dog's life. Study rebirth. Look at all of the little creatures in the ocean that try to bid for our love, that try to bid for us to save them because they suffer so much in the environment, being hunted, being hungry. And when they see a human, they realize, oh my God, you're a god. We are gods to the animal realm. The animal realm is unfavorable. They know that. They know. They have direct knowledge. They know. They look at us and we're like gods. We're like devas, celestial beings. And we look at David, celestial being, a celestial being, the demigods. Okay, but they look at us. It's no wonder why. There was a human that was swimming, and then the orca whales, the killer whales, just hanging out. They're like, "Oh my God, look! It's like a majestic god swimming in our world right now," and left it alone. There's so many times where, whatever.
Animals will often ask people for help when they need it. Random, out in the middle of nowhere, struggling for whatever that they may need, and they'll do that. One could even argue that even the gods envy us as humans because we can't achieve enlightenment. However long it may take, we can.
You gave a blanket to a homeless woman, right?
Yeah.
She was homeless, right?
For a long time.
May you never experience what she's going through. May you never be cold in the winter. That's a conversation you'll have with karma, right? That's what happens when you give such item for someone who best in need, and it means so much to that person in that moment. But what I hope for you in the workings of karma, for you, and the Buddha have already said, you're not ever gonna fully grasp the full mechanics of karma. Something we won't know. He knows. I don't know. But the only thing I can teach is that, and tell you, is that, may you never be in that position. And if you are ever found in that position, may someone comes up and give you a blanket, and then you realize, oh my God, karma is real, because I did this for someone came and did it for me.
Can I tell you why I did that? I mean, and I know I told you a little bit about why, but like the real deeper reason of why I did that.
Sure.
Because I have been cold. I have been stripped of everything. And there was one time where nobody did come and give me anything. And I was just freezing. And there was another time where I wasn't homeless, but I was again stripped of everything and had nothing, and I was freezing. But somebody did come and bring me warm clothes and hoodies. And that person actually has passed on, I think, last year. But I'll never forget that.
So, and what you saw was impermanence in a daze. How what you guys get to see was how the day changes rapidly, the ups and downs of life, how there is suffering in life, the first noble truth, the existence of suffering in life, how things could change, how people could die quickly. They could die like that, just like that. And we forget because every day we look at them, we're like, oh, he's still here. Oh, look, he's still. Oh, he picks up the phone. Oh, he text messages me. Oh, he, she, and stuff like that. Oh, yeah, they're always gonna be here. It's fine. I expect them to wake up tomorrow. I expect them to be here tomorrow. Till they don't. I mean, it's such a big shock. Such a big shock. And so where there's pleasure, there's pain. The flip coin of that, and not to attach onto any of it. Just wait for it. Just wait for it to unfold. And as you all see this unfold, you have to question what is going to ripen in my life, in different stages of my life. When is it going to ripen? How is it going to ripen? And if you think you exempt magically from the workings of karma, you have fooled yourself.
Not even the Buddha was exempt of karma.
Correct. After becoming enlightened, his cousin tried to kill him 2 more additional times. 3 times his cousin tried to kill him. After he was fully enlightened, there were monks that didn't even keep any of the precepts. They broke all 10 precepts. It's like, damn, y'all done did that in front of the Buddha. They lied to the Buddha. They you know what I mean? So, yeah, talk about a can of whoop ass. That was one hell of a can of a whoop ass.
Even like me, you were
Wow.
talking about the other day as well too about I'll keep it short and vague, but the Buddha that we spoke about,
Hmm.
the Myanmar's,
Hmm.
and what he does. I mean, there's good and bad in everything and everywhere.
He had a peaceful death, though. He fought the good fight. The Buddha did. He had to maneuver around 80 long years of his life to try to do, what needed to be done in the world, left the teachings behind, and subsequently had one of the most peaceful deaths the world has ever seen. Timed his death, knew when he was going. Isn't that wonderful?
He also knew when he got sick that he wasn't going to die, even though he got close.
Yeah, on his 6-year austere practice, when he could literally touch his spine with his finger, a woman came, saved him, gave him rice porridge. So, I mean, Buddha got the long end of the stick. He didn't have it all good, tell you that. He had pleasure when he was a prince, pain during the monastic training process. I programmed my mind to wake up and always think about my students and to be there for them. So therefore, any pain that exists in my body, I'm like, what? I don't even know about it. It's such a great joy to think about other people versus oneself. Truly is. Miss, I forgot to ask how your week went. How was your week?
Good. Good.
It was good. I bashed my ankle at the beach on Wednesday, had a day off, and went on a long walk to Honeymoon Island on the trail that they have there. And smashed my ankle 2 miles in, carrying a 20-pound bag. I walked 2 miles out and was in a lot of pain, and then got to see a horned owl and realized that my pain was worth the timing of everything, because I got to see the owl. And I love owls,
Do you?
except for the barn owl.
Those are creepy.
It freaked me out. It was weird.
You would get along with my former SRO, Officer Smith, when he retired as SRO. They wrote this article about him. They're like, well, what do you do when you're not working? He's like, yeah, stay out till 4 a.m. with binoculars looking at owls.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's creepy.
I don't do that.
That's the reason why I didn't talk to you, Officer Smith, when I was in school.
Yeah, right. The chances of seeing an owl during the daytime.
That's why I call 911 and not Officer Smith.
Yeah, it was weird, but it was cool. It was worth it. I was in pain, but just seemed to be, in hindsight, for me to be able to experience that moment, chances of seeing an owl during the daytime is pretty rare.
Yeah, but that owl was probably smoking a joint.
Yeah,
He stayed up all night partying. He did not keep the precept.
yeah, right. But yeah, it was during the day, and we've seen owls and stuff. Like at bird sanctuaries.
Oh.
Once you go there, there's one up on Clearwater at Moccasin Park. Moccasin Lake Nature Park.
Yeah.
They have a bat house too, a lot of cool stuff. But anyways, I like spending time with animals, seeing them, and that's another thing that you can think about karma with is going to a bird sanctuary. Because really, there's only birds. The only birds that should be in sanctuaries are ones that they can't live in the wild. Otherwise, they'll be released.
So you talking about birds, maybe just think of we were at Clear Beach yesterday, and how much you like birds and how much you like when they're being saved when they can't help themselves. I mean, I know you said it was creepy. I know how you feel about.
No, I'm just kidding. I was just kidding. I don't care if Officer Smith stays up 4 a.m. looking at owls. I mean, I would never stare at an owl. Matter of fact, if an owl lands in front of your house, I think it was at night or in the morning or something in Vietnam, that means death is to follow quickly.
Aliens were coming.
No, but what I was saying though is that there's a place that I can show you, and it's very peaceful, and especially around sunset. It's right over the bridge on Clear Beach. You can either go off, kind of park in the, where you park for the little walking area around Clear Beach, park there and walk down along the little kind of beach when the tide's out. And there's an island on that left side. And if you've ever noticed, it's completely filled with trees. If you're going to like to Clearwater Beach on the left side, it's completely filled with trees. That's a protected bird sanctuary.
Yeah.
So I used to because I used to work on boats down there. Around sunset, golden hour, the water's super calm. You're looking at the water, looking at the birds. A lot of birds that you will, just going around town, you'll never even see. Right. The amount of species that are there that come from all over and live there is insane. I mean, people think they're pink flamingos, but they're something spoonbills. And just the diversity and how peaceful it is just insane.
Yeah, I definitely would like to check that out. I don't know if that's open to the public.
You cannot go onto it, but even just if you were to take binoculars and go down around there around sunset, I mean, I'd probably go before the rush of traffic, get there a little bit early.
Okay. All right. Off topic.
Yeah.
These are all off topic.
Yeah. All right.
So you had a good week so far, right?
Yeah.
Any meditation?
Every day.
Yeah. What type of meditation?
Insight meditation.
Noting.
Loving kindness. Loving kindness meditation literally every single day. Do a brief meditation in the morning. And then extended it in the evening, loving kindness.
Do we see each other? Do you see you becoming more kind, more patient, more tolerant
Yes.
on the phone, at work? More kind and patient in traffic?
Oh yeah. Definitely in traffic, definitely on the phone. And it's becoming more noticeable where I'm observing the mind when I'm out in public, people's choices that they make without judgment versus where I used to look at something with judgment. And observing that and being mindful of the fact that if I were to judge, then I would be just as mindful as I think that somebody else might be for the decision that they make.
It's probably a priority call. Give me 1 second. Hello? Yeah, bud. We're gonna take a 2-minute break for a second. Yeah, don't worry. You can stretch for a little. Talk about birds. Oh my god, my core so hurts. Oh.
Yeah, man, it's pretty
It happens when I'm on the toilet.
I've gotten up sometimes and I actually have fell forward into the wall and like, oh my god, I can't move my legs. Like, are they there? Hello? But what I was saying to you though about Florida Beach is I've worked on Florida Beach for a while.
Okay, I'm back. Okay.
I don't waste a lot of time. I don't waste a lot of time. Any Dhammapada quotes that stood out for you?
Yeah.
Yes. So y'all need to finish the CBT book so y'all can get on this.
Mhm.
Okay.
This is how you impress me, by the way.
So it's the thousands on page 135, and it's on the paragraph that starts with 103. One who conquers himself is greater than another who conquers 1,000 times 1,000 men on the battlefield. Be victorious over yourself and not over others. When you attain victory over yourself, not even the gods can turn it into defeat.
103, read it. 103, verses 103.
That's a very profound thing. I've heard a lot of other people like throughout studies.
Yeah?
It's interesting you pick that one. Yeah.
You saying that over and over again? Go ahead, Sam. 103. Reread it out loud.
One who conquers himself is greater than another who conquers 1,000 times 1,000 men on the battlefield. Be victorious over yourself and not over others. When you attain victory over yourself, not even the gods can turn it into defeat.
I'll give it to Eric. Have at it, Eric. Page 10, verses 103. Read it.
One who conquers himself is greater than another who conquers 1,000 times 1,000 men on the battlefield. Be victorious over yourself and not over others. When you attain victory over yourself, not even the gods can turn it into defeat.
One of the verse I read, earlier this week or something like that. Even the gods look up to you once you have achieved enlightenment. Imagine that. Even the gods look at the human like, whoa, what a noble being. The word here is noble. You can win 1,000 battle 1,000 times, but the noblest victor of all is one who wins the battle within himself. Noble, a noble young man, a noble ambition. You don't hear that word noble anymore. Just like loyalty. Like in relationship, what the hell is loyalty? You say loyalty to a girl, and they're like, what? Wikipedia. What do you mean Wikipedia? What do you mean you have to Google loyalty? That's something I like to use and describe my students. Noble women, noble men. Noble women. Noble. Be noble. I think all of us strive to be noble. As noble as is ever going to get in this lifetime. Amongst the wolves, amongst the sages, amongst all of the humans that we have to encounter necessarily, unnecessarily, in both work, occupation, home, life, school balance, to always remind yourself to be the noble, to be the wise, to win the battle within one's mind. Priority, the priority of war over one's mind, to win over first one's mind. That has to be conquered.
There's the depth, again, incredible paper on every verse. The depth of that priority to win, to be noble, to win over your own mind. The depth of the mind is so deep that it's not just controlling the mind, it's controlling, of course, by controlling the mind, observing it first and then choosing the actions, choosing the thoughts that we get to choose our thoughts at some point. But my point is that to be able to achieve that state of complete dominance over one's mind will change everything around that you interact with, every person that you interact, every being, every single thing you do. So for it to be like when you say, 1,000 people 1,000 times, the mind can do all of that. And you don't have to do any of that.
Correct.
Once you control this, you don't have to do anything else because everything else will just naturally happen through conquering the mind. Conquers himself.
What a fool we are every day, right? What a fool we are, and we realize we've wasted so much words, whether the impact of these words actually do anything. And then we blame ourselves at the end of the day. What was I doing? How did I restrain my thoughts? How did I restrain my speech? How did I restrain my actions that lead to my own winning of this one battle that is the most difficult to win? Here we are running around trying to fix other people, but yet we are still actively suffering, actively still continuing to use substance, actively still trying to boost our ego, actively trying to, what is our motive? Why am I here? What am I doing? And who have I become as a direct result of doing it?
What you're saying in that passage that you picked directly relates to this other one here far earlier. A true follower of the Buddha shines. It's on page 118, 58, 59. A true follower of the Buddha shines among blind mortals as the fragrant lotus, growing in the garbage by the roadside, brings joy to all those who pass by. It's a direct correlation.
Which paper is that again?
118, verse 58, 59.
What'd you order? Pepperoni?
Yeah, what should I order? How many?
Okay, what kind of pizza do we want? I want breadsticks. I want Sprite here, Coke here. It's gonna be a party. Yeah. You guys want like a, what do you guys eat?
It's the pizza pepperoni.
Do you even have like on a certain type of diet?
We've just been eating raw vegetables, fruits, and lean protein. So
Oh, she's on her own thing. I mean, so you guys can actually go off and eat and then come back if you guys want, right? Because I don't have time to run off.
no, yeah,
I wish I could.
we don't eat pork.
Okay, let's get they're gonna eat their own thing and then come back. What do you guys want? Cheese? Eric, cheese or pepperoni?
Yeah, one race.
Okay, half cheese, half pepperoni.
All right. Should I order from the pizza hut like down the road?
Yeah, whatever is closest. Yeah. Tell them we'll pick it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's call them.
Yeah, just call them.
Yeah,
Half
that's at
cheese
the
and-
bottom.
Yeah. Get breadsticks, get that sauce with the breadstick, and get Sprite, Coke, or whatever. Or on the way, get like sweet tea for me and you. I don't like Coke. I want sweet tea, like brisk sweet tea or whatever, Arizona. On the way, because there's a gas station near here. All right, yeah, call them. We'll pay cash down there. Whatever. Complicated.
Yeah, there's a direct correlation, honestly, for everything. But you can see a parallel. When one conquers himself is greater than anything else. Be victorious over yourself and not others. When you attain victory over yourself, not even the gods can turn it into defeat. In the same way, a true follower of the Buddha shines among blind mortals as the fragrant lotus growing in the garbage by the roadside. Lotuses, I'm sure you probably know, grow in mud.
I didn't, and I don't know what a lotus is, but when I read that quote, I understood.
The lotus is a flower that grows everywhere, but it only blooms at a certain time of day, and then it'll close again. And it only grows in like swampy, muddy, gross-looking type of ponds. Like it's not a clear pond that a lotus grows out of, but it's a beautiful flower. So the flower itself holds a lot of symbolism and a lot of meaning of this absolutely gorgeous. It doesn't matter what color it is. There's red, white, purple, and all sorts of colors. But it's just one of the, and personally, I would argue it's probably one of the most beautiful flowers on the planet. And it grows out of the dirtiest water.
Mhm.
I mean, like algae and really nasty stuff. And for that lotus to be able to grow, it has to grow in that.
Mhm.
So one of the most beautiful flowers grows out of the grossest water. So for a human to parallel, one who can be a beautiful soul, heart, mind, consciousness amongst the mud that surrounds us. As it says, brings joy to all who pass by. So someone who walks by and sees that flower, like, wow, what a beautiful flower amongst all this garbage. That's how we are. What we should strive to be.
Because there was death this week, and death emphasizes time and urgency. I wanted to read 2 paragraphs out of here. Literally, I've like never opened this book before in my life. You just open up any chapter, and it's like, right. Read me.
It's the one that I took too, that's fine.
Huh?
It was the same book that I was looking through.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Short is the life of human beings, limited and brief. It is full of suffering, full of tribulation. This one should wisely understand. One should do good and live a pure life, for none who is born can escape death. Second one, just as a dewdrop from the tip of a blade grass will quickly vanish at sunrise and will not last long, even so is human life like a dewdrop, short, limited, and brief. Short, limited, and brief. It is full of suffering, full of tribulation. This one should wisely understand. One should do good and live a pure life, for none who is born can escape death. From life's brevity. Candle's brief. Next time you light a candle in the room, just look how brief it is. Look at how many hours you can get out of that candle. And if you procrastinate or spend too much time on the phone and stuff like that, just look at the candle and you realize, I've been sitting here, another candle has extinguished. I have wasted all this time without absorbing anything good, wholesome for my mind, body, spirit. And it emphasizes how short your life is. You know, one of my teachers at age 52, he said, all right, I think I'm done studying, just because it's been quite dense, a lot. And I'm pretty sure he has mastered all of the teachings of the Buddha at a very young age. Therefore, his age 52 is his retirement age from studying. But if we all look at age 52 as the stop, as the standard, you see how much time you don't have. This right here just represents 1% of the many volumes of books yet there is to read to conquer the mind. Read and put into practice. The reading is only half the work. Then the other half is taking everything, all the instructions that has been given, and sit there and meditate in silence to win the battle within oneself. It's like we're going to war to Vietnam. Okay, we'll win the damn war. How? Well, let's get all the generals together. Let's get all the generals that went to West Point together. Who's good in what, and let's select them. Who's good in what? Where's the platoon? Where's the brigade? Where's the, what's our artillery again? What? How many tanks do we have? How many broken tanks are there? What needs to be repaired? All the details and logistics in order to win the war, right? The details and logistics to win the war within your mind lies in the teachings of the Buddha. Cannot say you don't know how, because he teaches the how. It's you that think you can't do it. It's you that limited yourself. That is no wonder why I keep on buying more books, right? Because we simply forget, and I simply forget. If I forget Eric's name in this class, Well, I forget other stuff in this books too. And when I'm not doing counseling, as I have been every single living, brief days that you all have been over. And in the middle of my nap at 10, 11 o'clock, you see me having to like, huh? Huh? You know, you see it, right? So if my candle is brief, you are left to tell the story of the living venerable. Hi, my name is Eric, and I've been with the venerable for a total of 536 hours of his living life, and things that I observe, and this is my testament. Right? That's why I have assistants with me all the time, because my candle is brief. Why does a 35-year-old monk has an assistant with him all the time? Because the assistant is living proof of his work. And at any point in time, karma can yank me. Stroke, heart attack, that's a possibility at age 35. It's a possibility after like 31, all that's going to set in. It's no wonder why I concluded our conversation with Dominic and you last night, how men are dying quickly, very quickly. We're dying, I don't even know it. The billions of brain cells is depleting. All of the biology that we were programmed to just die. Of loneliness, of destitution, of
Doesn't matter.
everything. Doesn't matter.
It's my stepfather, who's 58 years old. He went to sleep and didn't wake up. He was a relatively happy man, slightly overweight, drank a little bit, but not a drink every day, but like 1 to 2 glasses of whatever, which is, you could argue, being an alcoholic. Others would say there's sure practices restraint. Didn't have to, chose to do so. But the point is a relatively happy, very happy, loving, caring, arguably healthy individual, at least by American standards, which is probably not saying a lot. He went to sleep and didn't wake up. Died with a smile on his face, which was something I wanted to bring up earlier because you were talking about when you live, how you live, you reflect on how you die, and say, look at the people when they pass and look at their face. My uncle who passed away died of an overdose. He looked awful.
And did you all know that I'm dying for all of you? You know that? Right? Right? I could be at the beach right now, right? But I'm sitting here and my candle's lit. Right? And at the beginning of the class, my candle was here. And now my candle is here. True or false?
True.
My candle is getting briefer and briefer as the day passes.
All of ours are.
Correct. Now I know the feeling why Jesus died for us. Now I understand why the Buddha accepted the 5 first disciples and carried them with him anywhere and loved them and tolerated them and endured them. And all of my pre-saints, I would die for you all. I've already demonstrated that. I've given everything away. It's too bad these guys don't live locally. Right? Huh.
May I share something with you?
Huh.
That was a pretty influential learning experience for me that I've had time to reflect on and think about. My mother's old boss at her work, he was a younger guy. I just met him before I got the job at Shaker and Peel. I was going to work there. I'd met him about not even a month had gone by, and he had walked into the walk-in cooler at her work, had a stroke and died. And this was all pretty recently, and it made me realize, like, wow, I just met this person, and I've met many people that I just met, and within a month, 2 months, they're gone. And it's like, what can I take away from it?
Buy a little fish tank, this big. Buy all the stuff for the fish tank. Put in like maybe 6 or 7 fish, and watch them die, because eventually they die.
But feed them.
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah. I mean, okay. Someone's gonna call ASPCA and be like, the venerable is teaching about animal abuse. Yeah, feed that. Yeah, of course, feed them and stuff. But the point is, damn, I'm really bad at teaching. Maybe I should retire. People are watching this and they're gonna take the clip and they're like, oh look, he's teaching people how to kill fish and not keep the precept. But like, so my dad's office, there's that fish tank, and then like when I see fish die, they float up, and I'm wondering what's in the mind of the other fish swimming around. They're probably like, "Oh shit, George died," and just swim around and like someone's gonna get him, or is he, or and then but it emphasizes time, right? Literally, when I watch them, and some of them I spend a lot of money on, just like $5 for this particular whatever kind of fish they are, and then when the expensive fish die, I'm like, oh, but I'm like, what a short life, what a short life. And then these are like reminders, you know what I mean? The fish tank is a really good reminder of you or anyone in your life. Just wait for it. The more fish you have in the fish tank, the more friends you have, the more family you got. Wait for it. It's coming. It's on the way. A ticking time bomb. For some reason, we really don't see death, and we don't want to accept death is looming. So remember, in my room, there's a spear.
Mhm.
You know why there's a spear in my room? Of course you don't, because you're supposed to hold it against up to my neck. You're supposed to do that on live. Yeah, you're supposed to hold that spear, which you felt the tip. You're supposed to sit here and hold that against my neck. That spear is supposed to be like this. What does that mean? Well, the spear represents death, and it's always at our necks.
Mm.
Ah, the reaper, right? That guy, with the black hood over his head, and he's always got that thing right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what happened to Isaiah. Literally, death followed him, just with the spear like that. The workings of karma.
Everybody's so afraid of death.
So yeah, well, so when you walk in my room, you see death.
Mhm.
I mean, you don't feel death, but you see death. You see Stan was a real skeleton on the left, and you see a spear on the right, and you're like, oh my God, he's a monk. There's nothing peaceful in this room. But it is the most peaceful room you'll ever be in. There's just a lot of objects that remind of death. Right? Oh, see? Right. That's how you know that's how you know I'm actively practicing death. I mean, who the hell puts a real skeleton in their room and look at them every single night? Because I'm meditating on death every single night.
Stan's a good guy. I like Stan.
Yeah.
You see a dentist.
Yeah. He obviously needs some crowns and implants, but
No judgment.
you know what I mean? But again, so the students of the Venerable, the school of Qi the school of intelligence, go ahead. If you can't accept death, don't want to accept death, have not seen death, invite it into your life. Look for it. See it for oneself. Ehipasiko. See it for yourself. Come and see it for yourself.
May I ask a rhetorical question?
Go ahead.
How is one going to live if they're constantly in fear that they're going to die?
It's not
fear.
it's not fear.
It's awareness.
You know the stethoscope in my room?
Mhm.
Well, I can't hear my heartbeat because I don't have the tools to do it. I can feel it sometimes. I don't fear death for two reasons. Number one, I have already used my time wisely. And number two, I have given all. Life of all giving. So even if I was in Mr. Wook Tran's position, let's say karma says, all right, dude, that's what, you're going to be paralyzed from the waist down, then I become paralyzed. And then my mind is still there. And I'm just like stuck with my mind. And I would just sit here and rejoice all of the changes, all the impact on all the young people that I've had in my life, just everything. Like, yeah, I'm at peace. Awesome. And if I'm not at peace, well, I'm breathing. So guess what? Back to practice. And if I'm not enlightened, well, guess what? Damn it, achieve enlightenment because you've already got the instructions. And I would just sit there and just practice on my breath until I get there. Okay? Those who fear death is one who hasn't studied it, doesn't understand it, haven't internalized it, haven't seen it for oneself. And that's why you fear. People fear what they don't know. People fear what they have not accepted. People fear because they're still playing around. Played a little too long, played a little too hard in life. One must ask, have I played a little too long, a little too hard? And when death creeps up on me in the manner that it is, how would I feel and think in those moments? So it's wise fear. It is reasonable amount of fear. But one has to really dive into the word fear of its intensity. Social anxiety is fear. A lot of people, when they see humans, they're like, "Oh God, I can't." you know, you just have to trust the teacher in the process, through the study of death and the meditation of death, to live wisely, to know how to skillfully live wisely. I mean, if I was fearful, just look at the way how I behave. Just look at the way how I behave with all of you. You notice? You notice that? You notice how I'm not. What do I fear? You're with me. What do I fear? Ask, scream right now, reflect right now. What do I fear? Right? Because I mean, time wisely, life of all giving, exempt from fear of death. Shoot, I just came up with a good formula. I didn't realize that. So why I teach, so I can enlighten my own self. Time spent wisely. Look at these folks. Look at these folks. Look at what they've been saying. We meditate. They tell me what type of meditation, how it affects them, right? How have you studied CBT? Have you used your time wisely? Have you? Have you? Oh, you hesitated. It wasn't a confident yes. You hesitated. So you haven't. Have you played a little too long, a little too hard? Maybe. So you just have to like reel yourself back in, right? When I buy these things and I just leave it there, I leave it somewhere that's like very visible so that I can be like, hey, are you watching YouTube again? Because you realize that you had a bunch of books you got to review as a teacher, Like I remind myself, like I start putting, policies for myself. And if you have a board at home or something like that, or just go out and buy a piece of paper and a Sharpie, does wonders. Read more, damn it, and post it. You post it all over where you brush your teeth, where you poop, where you shower, to remind yourself, Chi Dao wants me to do this. I belong to the school of intelligence. Like I get my shit together. Get your shit together. Time wisely. And then a life of all giving. That's it. No more fear. Keep the precept. It's not hard. All these things are not hard. And when you're with me under the different capacities that I've been in, you see a free man, right? You see a free spirit, right? You don't see how many people I make laugh, right? I'm making this woman laugh. She just lost her kid to a semi truck, and she's laughing. And just the way she laughs was liberating. I've liberated her in the seconds and the moments that I have with her. That's why you have to liberate yourself to help others. Then you can carry that gift with you to help others liberate. And I'm pretty sure she feels all the energy. I'm sitting here. I'm 1 feet from her. She's feeling it all. It's a transference of energy. Do you feel the peace within me in the most trying times right now in your life? Do you feel it? She feels it. That's why she's opening up. That's why she's sharing. Or unless she gets a kick out of sharing things with strangers she doesn't know, regardless of my robes. I can be a murderer sitting right next to her and she doesn't even know, right? But there's that exchange of energy that she feels. Well, what did you feel when you recorded me chanting and giving her a blessing? Anyone sees that moment? What was that moment like?
Calming. It helps them take in what really happened, I guess.
I was watching her facial expressions as they changed. She would go from happy to sad to happy again to maybe slightly angry. It was a tsunami of emotions.
And did you know that one word uttered in this position can either change their life or devastate them even more? It's literally like when you're doing grief counseling, it's kind of like this is a knife and you just throw it. You don't know how it's going to land. It's that sensitive. I can make her become more suicidal, or I can give her hope in the forthcoming days just with my words. right? But it's more intense when you're in a position of this, of trust, of faith, hope, confidence, light, and wisdom. One word, change everything. Get someone off a bridge, they're about to jump, or
Yep.
you know what I mean? So therefore, that's why I wanted you all to see the science of it. It's not just sitting there and asking how she's doing, relating to her death, building rapport. It's not, you have to watch the science of it unfolding, the timing, the all in the noble eightfold path, all under right speech, how the science is unfolding to nurture one's heart, the broken heart, to mend a broken heart in that moment. I didn't ask that to be recorded, but you did it voluntarily. But if you go back and just study the facial expression and everything, it's like a lot going on there. So, therefore, again, today, in recapping today, constantly sharpen your sword in your battle with your own mind. Spend time wisely. Reflect on all of the teachings that have been given so far. Oh, come forth. I have something for you. It is the last left hand. Oh, right hand. This is the last amethyst. Notice the mother, the daughter, and now you have the same. What does this mean? This captures that moment when I gave my blessings. And this captures, I wanted you, when you look at that, you look at the ability to remain calm, peaceful, to reflect on death, to reflect on his death, to reflect on the family's pain and suffering. When you look at those beads, you realize how precious life is. And you see the moment of all giving, and you see the urgent need, which is what I'm cultivating all of you to be. The next warriors, the emerging warriors out there when the world crumbles down, and when they hope for that light to shine, and when it is your time to shine, you shine. You have it. You have it. All of you have it. If you wanted to step forward, you can be a private Buddha and just hang out and just, be like, ain't none of my business. Or if you're brave enough to go forth and shine the light where it needs to be, and have the same feeling that I have in serving the people, but just see everything that we have discussed and talked about. It captures the moment of that, how profound these moments are, just the brief, short life is. I wish you guys were there. It's just things move so quick in this journey in life. And not everything is captured on camera, because it doesn't need to be captured on camera, but how real things are. But you guys have lived longer than these guys, so you've watched death. Everyone's watched death, but the whole goal is not to scare you guys with any of the teachings and stuff like that, but just take it seriously. Just leave it there on the side. I mean, again, you must see how the teacher behaves in real life, in real time, and see that he's quite liberated. He really doesn't have any anxiety, right? Doesn't really worry much. He's out there and he's doing his thing, and he's bringing teachings to the people, and he's happy with his students. He's teaching us along, you know what I mean? Yes, he does have bills to pay. Don't think I don't have bills to pay. And I leave it all to the workings of karma. I do. My whole life, I've left it to karma, actually. You look at the life again, once again, the life of an interpreter is at the mercy of workings that I don't know. An interpreter is one who is at the mercy of how many court cases we have, or how many people are in trouble with the law, who's dying, and then we're there. And I get paid because I'm there. But what if no one dies? Or what if no one gets in trouble with the law? I don't have a job. Right? My whole life has been unstable in regards to my job. But yet, holy cow, lo and behold, the guy that grew up, gave more, took less, karma came back and gave right back to him 10 times fold. Exactly as it says in the book, I have experienced. And I hope you guys have experienced. What have you experienced as a result of coming and giving your time, energy, and effort in this class? Have meditated, which is accumulating good karma and merits. What have karma done for you when you come and you do what you do and you know, contribute here in this center?
My brother's here now, like in Florida. Up north, it's pretty rough with my dad, and now he's here in Florida with my mom, and them are doing really well, it seems, and trying to figure stuff out. It's been a little rough in the beginning, but that ended up happening this week too. I work as a massage therapist, and I have wonderful clients, and I like helping them. So, you know, that happens.
Almost, not everything. Almost everything I do, I seem to do now with peace. And I've been observing mine instead of what I mentioned earlier, judging mine most of the time. Not perfect. But that is something that has been the case. I noticed that strangely, bills have been paid on time now. So that's a thing. Some of my bills late, push things out, pay late fees and this and that, which happened after I got sick. I got sick because of a result of, I would think, from intoxicating substances. My gallbladder removed, pancreas was going bad, liver was failing. Stopped indulging in intoxicating substances. I'm getting healthier. I'm losing weight now. I feel healthier. My mind is more clear. I mentioned last week briefly, I got pulled over by the police. It was with me for 5 minutes and let me go just to let me know my headlight went out. Didn't give me a ticket or anything. Very kind. And I can tell you, I was mentioning this to Julia earlier, being a white guy with dreadlocks, I tend to get it profiled quite a bit to be hold a certain type of characteristic or do certain things or indulge in certain substances, which I used to do. But I used to get pulled over all the time by the police on my bicycle when I didn't have a car. This was many years ago. And be harassed. And I have to sit there and deal with it and tolerate it. And now, nothing's changed. I've gained some weight, I've gotten older. The main difference is no intoxicating substances. For some reason, I don't seem to be getting profiled anymore.
Some reason.
Person, right? I know, right? Crazy.
You're pretty back against the wall.
But yeah, quite a bit's changed the last 6 months or so. Things have changed over the last year and a half. I would say probably really since the last year and a half, but more so kind of really booming since August. And then probably since October, really started to snowball in a good way, not in a bad way. So
Everything's been working out, right? It's working out. Some changes, right?
it's positive.
It's positive. Well, that's a good thing.
I mean, yeah. Change is change. It is what it is. You know, I can get super, super like.
Good. Well, there you have it. I don't really have to do much because I know it works. I don't have to sit here and advertise karma because it just lurks in the back.
Karma is definitely as real as it gets, man. Be it immediate or not, actions have consequences. Science backs it up. Reaction is an equally opposite reaction. Everything is that way. Everything is that way. Cause and effect. It can be punching somebody. It's going to have its own ramifications for being physically violent or being loving. Breaking the law, following the law. Being honest being dishonest. Doesn't really matter. Putting poison in your body, experience the results of putting poison in your body. And then some things happen that aren't direct. And that's just a prolonged version of karma. Ripens in its own time.
Drive real careful. US 19, very dangerous.
Is your car already on?
It's in there. Keys in there already. Yeah. Notification on the phone. Good deal. Good deal. Awesome. Any questions for the Dhammapada studies? Any questions on Vipassana? Any additional questions or research?
No, just deepening the research into it for now.
Let the quotes in the Dhammapada sink in, right? This is where I describe it as you come to me, I administer IV, but it's only saline. Then after your vitals are stable and I realize, all right, you ready for some good stuff? And you're like, oh, what good stuff? Well, I'm going to put Influvite into your IV. You're like, what is that? I'm like, it's just vitamins and minerals. You know, it helps you nourish your body even more. It'll make sure you get enough vitamin A, B, C, D, E, K, E, whatever. And you're like, hell yeah, do it. And you see this yellow syringe go into the saline and you realize, oh, that's some good stuff. And you just watch it go down the line and into your veins. That's the Dhammapada. That's the Dhammapada. And you just sit there and you just relax and you realize, I came to the right hospital. I got the right doctor. He stabilized my life. And now he's enriching my body, mind, soul, spirit, you name it. And with all of the prerequisites that you've already studied, now the Dhammapada seeps in there and the Dhammapada lets you just sit there with one quote for like a month. The Dhammapada is to be practiced, realized, and reflected. It's only 200, how many? 400 verse? 277 or 400 verses? Oh God, there's so many verses. Grace.
Shorter than I thought, that's for sure. 280, 394.
How many verses?
394 verses.
Okay, so you take one verse and you practice on one verse.
Meditate.
The threefold training, samadhi, cultivation of the heart, part of winning the battle within yourself. One must really ask, truly, this week which battle have I won? And then you get analytical. How much greed did I have this week? How much desire did I have this week? How much anger did I have this week? Where do I need to go? Where do I need to pinpoint? Surgical precision pinpoint. Then you become a scientist. Then you look at the logistics and details like a general. You want to win a battle? You need to be a general. And the general looks at the map of his life, the map of his mind, the blueprint of his mind, and he realizes that anger was prompted by this activating event based on my belief at that time, thus leading to this particular type of behavior. So therefore, what was it that I was missing? And why did I engage with this person? Who is this person, by the way? Have I had prior contact with this person before? You get in it. You get in it. Just like how I've taught you, right? Just like how CBT have taught you. Right. And the wisdom that comes from that.
How to handle certain situations, when to approach certain situations, when not to, how to approach it. There's a lot to it. And it's all to be loving and to be kind. And as long as you're rooted in loving kindness, things will present themselves when needed. Or not.
Correct. And then the loving kindness meditation, the perfection of loving kindness meditation, the perfection of the 7 factors of enlightenment, the perfection of the giving up the 5 hindrances. Those are all checklists that you all must now work through weekly, every day, hourly, or whatever time that you have after work to look at the hindrance, any hindrance, scan for hindrances today, any hindrances today, right? and 7 factors of enlightenment, which one have we perfected? And you both do it together with a checklist. I'm like, yeah, halfway. Then you try to statistics on it. Yeah, 40% generosity. 40% this, 50% that, 70% this and that. And then, you look at it from a bar graph, line graph, bar graph standpoint, get scientific with it. This is how you begin to narrow it to the perfection of each element. Okay. I don't believe there's any issues with sila. So, but the samadhi, the samadhi, and then when it leads to panya, the last fold training, the insight that you have received, write it down, record the insights so that others can benefit from it, and to share that insight with all of us. As a result of this battle, how did you win this battle in this particular certain way? And how can all of us benefit from the way you battled greed, anger, delusion in this way? So everyone deals with it differently. And I'm excited to hear, because I'm also doing research on all of you guys to see it unfold. Now, I can't micromanage or babysit you. You have to now see things unfold. You're now like the beacon. They're constantly scanning your mind of what's going on.
That's how it is.
Yes. And ever luminous. And every time when you come here and you see the brightness and the luminosity of the teacher's awareness, brings back into your own awareness, how aware am I with everything? The increasing awareness. Your awareness should be increasing as the weeks pass, because you're now intermediate level now, and we're moving towards that advanced levels now. Venerable Minnim has been teaching for a while. He was Mahayana, then Theravada. And like when he's giving his Dhamma talks and he holds the microphone, very calm, peaceful man. Now he's breaking out of the shell and he's engaging with like reporters and stuff like that. And it's this new energy that I'm seeing. I'm like, well, dang. Wow. Well, you obviously got out of the forest there. He wears this color. He was recently on my, let me show it to you just for inspiration. Because he gave me new light energy. He's right here, Venerable Minnim. He knows Chinese, he knows everything. Oh, there's that. Oh, great. Now, this thing died.
Hết những cái đam mê của mình, thì khi người đó hết còn xem bạn là số 1 trong cuộc đời người đó nữa, không có nghĩa là bạn sẽ không phải là số 1 của những người còn lại, hay là bạn không còn giá trị.
This is energy that
Người đó rời khỏi cuộc đời bạn vì người đó không có khả năng tiếp tục chăm sóc cái khu vườn tâm hồn của bạn, mà người đó trao cái chủ quyền đó lại cho bạn, thì đúng là bạn sẽ rất là khó chấp nhận.
It's talking about relationships, the science of relationship, love, caring, compassion, understanding, compatibility. Look at this girl. This girl looks like she just got out of Ybor City interviewing him. So I'm like, damn, he's getting out there. I was waiting for this moment. Now, if I were to carefully evaluate and assess him, he's got to enter at least the first 2 stages of enlightenment. Least, the very least. He's written many books and stuff like that. Very calm. It's everything. So again, increase in energy. The monk empowers you when he gives this talk. It is empowerment to nurture your mind, body, soul, spirit, so that you have more energy, more victorious by the days that come. You know what I mean? More invigorating versus any signs of slowing down. And that's part of the hindrances, is to watch for signs of effectiveness and efficiency in practicing the Dhamma. The Dhamma should be more enthusiastic by the days that pass. More curiosity, more enthusiasm. It's like trading your sword, your Dharma sword, in for, I want a bigger one now. And so I just wanted to remind you all what it is we're looking for on this path, and how to revitalize things. Studying death, looking at some of the quotes that hits hard at home. It's invigorating. It is truth.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you please say that?
Sure. It is invigorating. It is revitalizing. Siri, since you're spying on me without my consent. Detective Sam, warrantless search on the phone, please. My phone did it last time, remember?
Mhm.
Creepy CIA agents seeping into Buddhism. So, you guys are doing good. Let me see here. So, continue with the Dhammapada. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Continue with the Dhammapada. And pay attention to the stories and try to look at one other story online that matches up with that to see if there's any differences. The comparative study. Okay, what this author says and another other says about your favorite quote.
Okay.
And the story that comes with that. There's always a story that comes with a Dhammapada verse.
Right.
And then see what was left out and what was included from the different authors. It's just like if I told you this is the life of Buddha. Well, there's like God knows how many authors that have written about the life of Buddha. 40 different authors wrote about the life of the Buddha. And then someone always leaves something out, and then someone always includes something. You're like, I didn't know that. Why didn't that guy say something about the Buddha with this? This one said, he practiced military arts. And the other one was like, what? So now I'm teaching you comparative studies, which down the line, if you ever go even deeper into the Buddhist psychology of there is another one. Let me find the text in my head. Let me find it in my head. But there's like different translations of it. It's really complicated. But just that's like the last thing you would study out of all of this. That's the last thing you would study. But you know how to do comparative translations because everything has been translated. The nature, tone, and voice of each author's, the use of language of each author's, and how you would borrow this language to conjoin with what you have later on to present to the people.
Well, that's the thing too, like with this specific volume, this translator, he refers to and he gives his explanation about it and says, chapter 5 and 6, the immature and the wise, he uses the word, he puts it right up front. Chapter 5 is usually translated as the fool, and that chapter 6 is the wise, as if they dealt with utterly opposite temperaments. However, Allah means not only fool, but also child. A fool's behavior is not likely to improve, but a child's is simply immature. Giving the time and experience, children grow up. The Buddha was a compassionate teacher. So basically, he explains why and how he uses the terminology, the immature and the wise versus the fool and the wise, and the reason why, and how to him, and this is interpretive, the word immature being as though Allah means fool and child. That a more accurate English translation to those two words would be immature, not just foolish or just childish.
Yeah. So good.
So I see exactly what you're.
Right. So so in the path of curiosity, I think I'll never be tired of studying the teachings of the Buddha, just because it's so fascinating to hear different tone and everything like that. Just throughout. I mean, just like a CBT book, it's just like, there's so more CBT books to see how they present it. So the cultivation of the next teachers should also look at different revision editions to update your mind, to be up to date about what's going on, and be good at knowing, okay, there were different translations here and how you can use it to your life. The use of language, the effective use of language. Okay. So right now I'm going to conclude today's talk. I mean, obviously I wanted to go longer, like always, but due to the upcoming the upcoming podcast here. I have to wrap this up. So, Sam,
Oh, I'm sorry.
assume the position like the police would say. Yatha Varivaha Pura Paripurenti Sakaran Evomewa Ito Dinang Pitanan Upakapati Jitang Patitang Tamang Kipamewa Samajatu Sape Purentu Sankapachando Panyaraso Yatha Manijo Deraso Yatha Sabi Diyo Viwancha Dasa Paroagawa Vina Satuma Te Fawanto Antarayo Suki Diha Yuko Abiwanda Desile Sadechang Buddha Pajanino Chattaro Dhamma Vadantiya Yuano Sokhang Palang Bhavatasa Pamangkalang Rakantasa Padevada Sabha Buddha Nuvawen Saraso Te Bhavantu Te Bhavatasa Pamangkalang Rakantasa Padevada Sabha Dhamma Nuvawen Saraso Te Bhavantu Te Bhavatasa Pamangkalang Rakantasa Padevada Sabha Sangha Nuvawen Saraso Te Bhavantu Te. May you strive arduously. May you strive forth victoriously. May you strive towards tirelessly. May you know what it's like to run towards the path of enlightenment with sweat and tears, but joy in your heart, knowing that it is well worth it in the end. May you see the true goal of inner peace, liberation, and freedom, no longer hindered, no longer being dragged by life, no longer being chained by life, no longer enslaved by greed, anger, and ignorance in this lifetime. May you see the end goal is arahantship. May you know down the road what it's fully like to be free, to be fearless. Inner joy, freedom, and the gift of all giving. May karma always stay by your side. May it keep track and score of all the good things you've done. May it cancels out and equal out any unwholesome deeds that you may have done in this lifetime and previous lifetime. May you realize your intelligence and what a gift that can be for the whole world awaits ahead. May you be healed and be a great, significant source of healing for others the world has ever seen. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. This time in about less than 13 minutes, we'll go live again with Alan Pito. So please await for that. 13 minutes. Thank you all. I'd like to conclude my talk.